Joining me now, Newt Gingrich, former Republican Speaker of the House and the author of a brand new book. He's written a million of them. This one's called Duplicity. And his wife, Callista Gingrich, the author of another new book as well, Christmas in America. Thanks for joining The Real Story today.
Yeah. Thanks, Gretchen.
So we're talking about a really serious situation. Foreign policy, you have Putin exerting his force in Syria. We're not really sure what he's up to there, Mr. Speaker. And now you have the Israeli situation today. Is this because the world views America as weak?
I think that's part of it. Callista and I were just in Israel last week. I spent a week there, and you could sense the tensions building. She experienced a little bit of the tension on Friday. I do think that the weakness of this administration and the fact that they don't seem to be able to learn is a big part of it. Boko Haram, for example, under Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, was never recognized as a terror group. It took John Kerry to reverse that, and now you see the president beginning to be awake there. But we have terrorism all over. Part of the reason I wrote Duplicity as a novel is to tie together the idea that there's this worldwide terrorist threat. And you see it in Syria, you see it in Libya, you see it in West Africa, you see it in Afghanistan, and sometimes you see it here in the United States.
Vice President Joe Biden as well, reacting now a short time ago to last night's Democratic debate. So what do you have to say? Let's listen.
I was proud of I thought they all did well, and you know, part of what has to be done, was to say to all of you, part of what has to be done is we have to actually make the system work. And I thought every one of those folks last night, I'm mildly, I thought they all did well.
All right, the audio not so great there, but you could get a gist of what he said. So, Callista, do you think that Vice President Joe Biden is going to get into this race?
I don't think he'll get into this race, but I have to say, after watching last night, I feel more confident that we may have a Republican president.
Why?
I just think we have a stronger team.
Newt?
Well, I think, first of all, they kept running as far to the left as they could get on virtually every issue. And second, they're boring. I mean, if you look at the relative interest between the Democrats and the Republicans, we have a much more diverse group. We have a much more interesting group. Imagine if I said to you, one of the two parties has an African American running for president, has two Latinos running for president, has a woman running for president in both parties, and has a diverse, interesting background. 20 years ago, you said, oh, that must be the Democrats.
For sure.
It's now the Republicans.
All right. So let's move on to Speaker of the House, because I know that you know that your name has been tossed into the ring to come back.
Yes.
So what do you think about that, and what do you think about Congressman Paul Ryan saying yes or no to the job?
Well, I think Paul Ryan is probably the brightest member of the House. I think he has made amazing contributions on policy. And my only caution is that when you lose the majority leader, Eric Cantor, then you lose the speaker, John Boehner, then Kevin McCarthy, the new majority leader, can't put together a majority. There's a problem that's bigger than a personality. And my only advice to Paul would be go slow, make sure the conference talks to itself enough that before they hire somebody, they know what they want in the job and they know what they're willing to do to make the job successful. Any person who rushes in without fixing that underlying problem is going to end up in the same difficulty as John Boehner within 3 or 4 weeks.
All right. So, Callista, as the wife of the former speaker, do you want him to be the speaker again?
Well, Gretchen, I worked on the Hill for many years, and I love the House of Representatives as an institution. And I think both of us are very committed citizens. But I think it's really unlikely that Newt will become speaker. And, you know, I think he'll really be able to help moving forward.
Okay. So both of you have brand new books out. You're both prolific in this. So, Newt, your book, Duplicity, the fiction thriller that you talked about before with terrorism. I mean, how do you put together these books so quickly? This is another 300-400 pager.
Well, we were frankly a little surprised when we sat down in June of 2013. We had no idea that we would be bringing out a book about terrorism and a presidential campaign the very same month that Hillary Clinton's going to testify in front of the Benghazi
Very fortuitous.
Committee. And as you know from your hometown area, we have a Somali American who's patriotic, who is running for Congress in Minneapolis, while his brother is the head of #2 person in al-Shabaab in Mogadishu as a terrorist. So there's a lot of interesting complexity and duplicity.
All right. And you, in your 5th book for your Elephant series.
That's right. This is the Ellis the Elephant series. And in my new book, Christmas in America, Ellis discovers the joy of Christmas and how this special holiday has been celebrated throughout our nation's history.
All right. Just in time for the holiday season. Always great to chat with the both of you. Thank you
Good
so
to see
much.
you.
Thanks, Gretchen.